Alright, so for all you Southerners, here's what we're being dealt with today. I'm going to shoot a little video. I know many of y'all know how to do this, but I'm going to shoot a little video, show you my little workshop. There's my little cutter over there. Casey. I've got him started on a, I don't know why that door won't shut. What's up with my door? Got him started on a Charles hand pattern. It's only got like 800 holes in it.
He told me 500.
Yeah, I lie to you every time. But anyway, cramped in the little home shop. And what I've done here is I went ahead and cut some BB. Last back of Baltic birch sucked. It wasn't very good. Had where I got this from, I can't control all that stuff. Just tons of patches in the wood. Not happy with it at all. So that one will pretty much just go to firewood. Kids out there beating on the window. And then I set this little sanding station up right here. So when I sand, I can just use this, basically a motor off for a blower for a furnace. And I made a filter for it, so when we sand here, that hopefully it captures most stuff when we sand. And I'm going to cut a 3-ply cut. So I'm going to do 3. Got kids throwing snowballs at the shop out there. He's going to yell at them. So I picked 3 pieces out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to prep up.
Hell, a 35-year-old kid.
35-year-old? There, neighbors. But anyway, got the pattern from Russ Beard. And can't wait to cut the bass pattern. Also got one from Charles Hand today, and one from somebody else. And got a couple that we're working on. I didn't think I was going to be home. I had to go to a plant this evening for a little bit that had unfortunately a fatality. And I've been hired to do the investigation of that. But anyway, I tried to pick out the Baltic birch that had a lot of grain texture to it. So when I put the pattern on here in a little bit, because this one's going to stay in there and the wood's not going to leave, I really want as much of this grain to pop in the background as much as possible. So I purposely picked a few pieces out that's going to have that grain to do this triple stack. And I always triple stack regardless of how many the customer wants. I always triple stack, and I always keep the last one. One for show and tell, and one if they ever break anything, I can always get them another one. So I'm going to prep this Russ Beard pattern up. And what I do is once I get all the wood cut to size, and I clean it off initially with just a towel. Once I hit it with an orbital sander first, I come back in and wipe it off with a wet towel, a very damp towel, and then I'll come back and I hit it with a tack cloth to get all of the fine stuff off. So for those of you that use the blue painter's tape, that stuff, Meador, Mr. Tommy, I always razz Tommy about the blue tape, and anybody else uses blue tape. Blue tape has its place. There's my little EX. Blue tape has its place. If I'm going to do, this pattern here from Steve Good, obviously I'd probably just use blue tape to apply the pattern to. Maybe not on the deer, but I'd use it on that. But anytime that we get into big fret work, like all this little stuff, the last thing I want to do is be picking all that little bit of blue tape off. I can be successful cutting the cut, and the next thing you know, I break something taking the tape off if I use the blue painter's tape on these kind of projects. So it has its place. What I use is contact brand paper. I've already cut one this size, and I made a little holder here for it. Don't pay attention to the woodwork, it sucks. But we were playing around with this a while back, trying to figure out how to get the contact paper to lay flat. And so I came up with an idea to just turn it around. So I take it out right out of the roll, flip it around, buy a roll for like $4 or $5. And there's like, I don't know, 200 or 300 feet on there, something like that. Maybe not that much, I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a while since I bought it. I buy a bunch of it. But I got it flipped around, and so when you roll it back on this spindle, this dowel, if you put it on backwards, when you pull it out, it lays perfectly flat. The other way, you have to try to figure out how to get it to lay flat, which causes your bubbles and other things like that. So this seems to work really well. I've been using it for a little over a year now. I've been using the contact paper for at least a couple of years. We all try like the clear packing tape and then blue painter's tape and all that fun stuff. So once I got the wood cut to size, I got it cleaned. It's time to put the contact paper on. And the ideal thing is to try to get that lay as smooth as you possibly can. Then I'll spray glue it, and I'll put that guy on. And that's my favorite beer. I'm going to hand the phone over here to Casey, and just going to put the clear tape on. If I'm really, really picky about the clear packing tape, I'll start at the top and not put anything else on it until I'm ready. This one I'm not overly concerned with. I'll get it started, and then I'll just basically block one of my straight edges down the wood, get it laying nice and flat in one direction, and then I'll just work the clear tape out. The nice thing about clear tape is you can just constantly keep pulling it up until it lays nice and flat. So when it's nice and flat at that point, and then I'm obviously ready for my pattern, and just like most everybody else does, I'll just hit it with the 3M. I like the 77 stuff. I've got 100. I've got, I don't know, 4 or 5 different kinds. I find the 77 seems to work best for what I use it for. Once I get the clear contact brand paper on, then I'll just trim the excess off. And then I will save that came off of the clear contact paper. I'll use it to lay the pattern on it. Spray the glue, and then I'll just throw that piece away when I'm done. So once I spray the pattern, obviously I'll just let things set for a few minutes. Get the pattern on the wood. And when it comes time to put it all together, I'll take all 3 stacks, making sure I save at least one side of all 3. Then I'll take that back in here to where my air nailer is. And I don't like to use tape along the edges. I don't like anything else to hold it together. What I'll do once this is all together is take 23 gauge 3/8 pen nailers and a little Harbor Freight nail gun. You got to watch this nail gun. There is no safety tip in it. She will rapid fire. So he ought to take a deer hunt. And then obviously, if you don't know, you ought to put a couple of drops of air tool oil in your air gun every single day that you use it, and that'll keep your seals together. Then all I'll do is I'll run some pen nails around the perimeter, and they always just pull right out when I'm ready to be done. And then I will nail in any of the gray waist area so things stay nice and tight in the middle of the cut. And when I'm all done, there's absolutely no blue tape on this at all. It's ready to cut. So here's one that Casey's working on. This is his very first cut. And I already had it prepped up. I didn't really mess with it when I moved because it had gotten wet. I really wasn't sure if it was going to be any good or not. And he's new at cutting. So I handed it to him when he wanted a challenge. And I think there's, 500-600, if not more, holes in that. And he's doing spirals, and he's doing a fabulous job. But as you can see, there is absolutely no tape at all on that because we don't want to pull blue painter's tape off of work like that. And then he'll just work his way from the middle out. But you can see in the waist areas to where I shot the brads, keep the eyes nice and tight until I cut them. It'll keep the face nice and tight. And then when I'm all done, all that stuff just goes in the burn pile. And then when I'm all done, it's just clean. And and I don't have any residue to clean off. I don't have to sand anything other than the back as we cut. One of the things we do as we cut a little bit, we sand the back to control the fuzzies so that when we're all done, we don't have to sand it all. So that's how I put a pattern together. Again, 3/8 pen nails because I'm running 3/8. Every once in a while, if the air pressure's up a little high, it'll shoot and protrude to the back a little bit. No big deal. The pen nails are so soft that when I hit it with the orbital sander, it comes right off and it lays right down on the saw and doesn't hurt anything. So basically every pattern I put together that's this tight is put together that way. So when we're all done cutting, this whole piece just peels right off and doesn't break or pull any of this stuff apart at all, like you might get with using blue tape. So that's how I put things together. And I want to say thanks to Russ Beard for getting us all on this page, this awesome bass pattern, and a couple other things that Russ is working on for me. I really appreciate that. And then for those who have been thinking about the Seiko scrollers drill, obviously I sell the saws for them, I sell the drills. I really don't sell much of the other stuff like the backs and things like that. But if you happen to get one of our Seiko scrollers drill, it is AC power converted to DC in here to run this little motor. And one of the things that Jim Bloom taught me was on the original Seiko ones is you can turn this around and it'll take up this space at the top of the drill. So I've got one on that one, I've got two on this one. If I don't want to turn this around, because this is actually designed to hold the little chuck that comes with the drill. That's what the foam is for. And I don't even know what the hell I did with it, because I used this guy. By adding something at the top, like I did here with a couple zip ties, what that allows me to do is stay really close to the work, not use an extra 1.5 inches of stroke to drill. So it stays close to the wood. I don't have to move it very far. And again, Mr. Jim Bloom showed me that. And that's the way I have every scroller's drill set up. So it works really well that way. They're not made for speed. They're made to do perfect 90-degree holes as long as you keep things adjusted. And they're meant for a little bit of power, not speed. So these bits last for hours and hours and hours and thousands of cuts. So that's a little bit about how I do things. I know Tom and a couple of you said, shoot as many videos as you can to help people that don't know how to do this stuff. So this is the first one. I know it's kind of long. I really don't care to do many of the videos. I'd rather drink beer and just cut. But that's how I put things together. All of the portraits that I cut, they're all, if I do it that way, everything stays together. So whether it be the motorcycles, all that stuff. Imagine pulling blue painter's tape off of that. There's 460 some cuts in there. Most of those are just so tiny. But if I use the spiral blades and I use the contact paper, I'm very successful at getting it all apart without breaking anything. On a cut like that, like I did this weekend, I'd probably just use blue painter's tape because I got tons of it up there that was given to me. But that's how I do it. That's the way I teach people how to do it. And it seems to work really well. So, Tommy, I hope this works for you. Russ Beard, thanks again for the pattern. Thanks Ray at Seiko for everything that he does and sponsoring me. We do run 2 Seikos here, Excalibur, Jet 22-inch, and then the rest of the saws are either gone or I put them on. And our blade of choice that we use are Pegasus brand blades, and I use them for spirals, and I use straights, number 1s, 3s, and 5s. Spirals, I use zeros, 2 zeros, and number 1s. That's pretty much all we use when I cut. So, hope this helps somebody out, and hope you got something out of it. If you got any questions, you can PM me, and I'll try to help you out as much as I possibly can. It's only been 4 years since I've been cutting, so I don't know everything. It's still learn from everybody, just like everybody on the page. So hopefully this helps some people out, and let's start drilling some holes and see how Russ's bass turns out. I think it's going to be pretty cool. See you guys later.